Did you know entire empires were once ruled by women whose names you've probably never heard? There's something incredibly powerful about uncovering a story that's been lost to time. It's like finding a missing piece of a puzzle you didn't even know you were solving. For me, history has always been more than just dates and battles. It's a tapestry woven from the lives of people, their struggles, their triumphs, and the legacies they leave behind. So often, though, the threads spun by women are either cut short or woven out of the main design, relegated to footnotes or forgotten entirely. Today, we're going to rethread that tapestry. Today, we're uncovering the stories of 14 forgotten queens of Southeast Asia. These aren't just names in a dusty old book. These are women who built empires, commanded armies, fostered golden ages of art and culture, and navigated treacherous political waters with a skill that would make modern leaders blush. Their influence shaped the very foundations of the nations we know today, from the rice paddies of Thailand to the bustling ports of Indonesia. Why do their stories matter? Because history isn't complete without them. By ignoring their contributions, we accept a skewed, incomplete version of our collective past. Understanding their power, their intelligence, and their resilience gives us a richer, more truthful picture of human history. So, I invite you to join me on this journey. We're going to travel back in time, across empires and kingdoms to meet these remarkable rulers. We'll explore their courts, their battlefields, and the temples they built. We'll listen to the echoes of their decrees and try to understand the world through their eyes. This isn't just a history lesson, it's an act of remembrance, an effort to restore these queens to their rightful place in our shared story. Let's begin. Our journey begins in the 16th century Ayutthaya kingdom in what is now Thailand. Imagine the chaos of war, the clash of steel, the thunder of war elephants. In the midst of this turmoil, we find Queen Srivijaya. She wasn't just a queen consort, a figurehead confined to the palace walls. She was a woman of immense courage, a partner to her husband King Maha Chakraphat, and deeply invested in the survival of her people and her kingdom. When the Burmese forces laid siege to Ayutthaya, she saw the threat not as a distant political problem, but as an imminent danger to her family and her home. The story that has echoed through Thai history for centuries is one of incredible bravery. During a fierce battle, Queen Srivijaya saw that her husband, the king, was in mortal danger, his elephant faltering and his life about to be claimed by the Burmese viceroy. Without a moment's hesitation, she spurred her own elephant forward, placing herself directly between her husband and the enemy's blade. It was a conscious act of sacrifice, a calculated move to protect the leader of her kingdom, the father of her children, and the man she loved. She knew what the cost would be. Her intervention saved the king's life and allowed the Ayutthayan forces to regroup, but it cost her own. She fell in battle, a queen dying as a warrior on the field. Her legacy is not just one of sacrifice, but of proactive, fierce loyalty. Queen Srivijaya embodies the idea that power isn't just about ruling from a throne. It's about the willingness to protect what you hold dear, no matter the personal cost. She is remembered in Thailand not as a victim, but as a national heroine, a symbol of selfless courage that continues to inspire generations. Now let's travel south to the 14th century Majapahit Empire on the island of Java. Here we meet a queen whose name itself radiates power, Tribhuwana Wijayatunggadewi. She wasn't meant to be the supreme ruler. She ascended to the throne under the guidance of her powerful mother, Gayatri Rajapatni, after the reigning king was assassinated. Some might have seen her as a mere placeholder, a regent keeping the throne warm. They would have been gravely mistaken. Tribhuwana was a force of nature, a political and military strategist who would oversee one of the most significant periods of expansion in Southeast Asian history. With her brilliant and ambitious Prime Minister Gajah Mada at her side, Queen Tribhuwana embarked on a massive campaign of expansion. This wasn't just a few minor skirmishes, this was the forging of an empire. Under her rule, the Majapahit influence spread across the Indonesian archipelago, from Sumatra to Bali and beyond. She led military expeditions personally, quelling rebellions and consolidating her power. It was during her reign that Gajah Mada famously took his Sumpah Palapa, an oath to not taste any spices until he had united the entire Nusantara archipelago under Majapahit rule, an oath he could only make with the full backing and authority of his queen. Her reign was the launchpad for Majapahit's Golden Age. She wasn't just a conqueror, she was a shrewd administrator who understood that an empire is held together by more than just force. She laid the administrative and military groundwork that her son, Hayam Wuruk, would later build upon to bring Majapahit to its absolute zenith. Queen Tribhuwana's story is a powerful reminder that leadership is about vision and execution. She took a kingdom in a precarious state and through sheer will and strategic genius, transformed it into a sprawling maritime empire whose legacy is still felt in Indonesia today. Let's journey to the coast of what is now central Vietnam, to the kingdom of Champa in the 15th century. Here we find Queen Suryavamsa, a ruler whose power was not defined by the battlefield, but by her incredible intellect and diplomatic finesse. Champa was a maritime kingdom, its wealth and influence built on trade routes that connected it to China, India, and the rest of the archipelago. Suryavamsa understood that in this interconnected world, alliances and cultural exchange were just as mighty as any army. She was a master of statecraft. Her reign is often considered a part of Champa's Golden Age, a period marked by prosperity, artistic flourishing, and relative stability. This wasn't an accident. Queen Suryavamsa actively cultivated relationships with neighboring kingdoms, particularly the powerful Ming dynasty in China. She sent numerous diplomatic missions, not as a subordinate, but as an equal, fostering trade agreements that filled Champa's coffers and brought new ideas and technologies to her people. She was a patron of the arts, and under her rule, the unique and beautiful Cham architecture and sculpture reached new heights of expression. Queen Suryavamsa's story teaches us that strength comes in many forms. While some queens wielded swords, she wielded words, treaties, and cultural influence. She skillfully navigated the complex geopolitics of her time, ensuring Champa's sovereignty and prosperity in a region dominated by larger, more aggressive neighbors. Her legacy is etched into the stunning brick towers of the Cham temples that still stand today, silent testaments to a queen who built a legacy not of conquest, but of culture, diplomacy, and enduring prosperity. We now travel to the 15th century Hanthawaddy Kingdom in Lower Burma, which is now modern-day Myanmar. Here we encounter one of the most remarkable and revered female rulers in history, Queen Shinsaobu. Her life was honestly one of incredible drama and devotion. After spending a long period as a political hostage in the rival court of Ava, she managed a daring escape and returned to her homeland. When her brother, the king, passed away, she, through a clever and strategic test, involving her two most trusted monks, chose her successor and ascended the throne herself. Queen Shinsaobu's reign was, well, truly unique. After decades of political intrigue and warfare, she brought an era of peace and unprecedented prosperity to her kingdom. She was less interested in expanding borders and more focused on strengthening her kingdom from within. She implemented economic reforms that stabilized the currency and promoted trade, making her capital, Pegu, one of the most vibrant commercial centers in the region. But her true passion was her faith. She was a devout Buddhist, and her reign is most remembered for her incredible acts of religious piety. Her greatest legacy stands gleaming in the sun for all to see, the Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon. While the pagoda existed before her time, Queen Shinsaobu was the one who transformed it into the magnificent monument we know today. She donated her own weight in gold, 40 kilograms, to be hammered into gold leaf to plate the stupa. She raised its height, built protective walls, and dedicated the last years of her life to its upkeep, living in a small cottage at its base. She ruled for nearly 30 years, a period of stability and grace, before peacefully abdicating the throne to her chosen successor, the monk Dhamaziti. Her story is, without a doubt, one of faith, wisdom, and peaceful governance. Our path now leads us to the heart of the mighty Khmer Empire in the 12th century, to the sprawling temple city of Angkor. Amidst these magnificent stone monuments, we find Queen Indradevi. She was the first wife of the great king Jayavarman VII, a ruler renowned for his massive building projects and his devotion to Mahayana Buddhism. But Indradevi was far from just a royal consort. She was a brilliant scholar, a poet, and a professor in her own right, a guiding intellectual and spiritual force behind the throne. The stone inscriptions she left behind are our primary window into her life, and they paint a picture of a woman of profound intellect and compassion. She was highly educated in Sanskrit and Buddhist philosophy, and King Jayavarman VII actively sought her counsel. After the death of her younger sister, Jayarajadavi, who was the king's second wife, Indradevi stepped in to teach her grieving husband the profound tenets of Buddhism, guiding him toward a path of compassion that would define his reign. She became a professor, teaching the principles of Buddhism to women in 3 different temples within the Angkor complex. She didn't just teach, she shaped the very spiritual landscape of the empire. Her influence is seen in the compassionate faces of the bodhisattvas, carved into the walls of Bayon and other temples built by her husband. She championed the idea that women could be spiritual leaders and scholars, creating educational opportunities for them within the monastic system. Queen Indradevi's story is a testament to the power of knowledge and the profound impact one person's wisdom can have on an entire empire. She was truly a queen of the mind and spirit. We now set sail for the island of Borneo to the Sultanate of Brunei in the 16th century. Here we meet Puteri, Princess Jauharatul Aini, a figure who rose to prominence during a time of immense turmoil. While technically a princess regent rather than a queen in her own right, her leadership was so pivotal that her story deserves to be told. She was the daughter of Sultan Bolkiah, one of Brunei's greatest rulers. After his death, the Sultanate faced a succession crisis and growing external threats, particularly from the Spanish who sought to control the region. It was in this crucible of uncertainty that Jauharatul Aini's strength became apparent. She was known for her exceptional intelligence, political acumen, and military prowess. When the Spanish launched an invasion known as the Castilian War, Brunei was thrown into chaos. The reigning sultan was forced to flee and the capital was occupied. It was Jauharatul Aini, alongside her nephew, who would later become sultan, who rallied the Bruneian forces. She was not a distant commander. Legend holds that she was a skilled warrior, inspiring the troops with her courage and strategic mind. She was instrumental in organizing the resistance that eventually drove the Spanish out of Brunei, preserving the Sultanate's independence at a critical juncture in its history. Her leadership during this crisis ensured the continuity of her royal line and the sovereignty of her nation. Her story is, honestly, a powerful example of a royal woman stepping into a power vacuum, not for personal gain, but for the survival of her people. She is remembered as a guardian of Brunei, a leader who met a foreign invasion with unwavering resolve and protected her nation's legacy. Our journey takes us to the Malay Peninsula, to the bustling, cosmopolitan port of the Malacca Sultanate in the 15th century. In this melting pot of cultures and commerce, we find the story of Queen Kemuning, also known as Tun Kudu. Her life is, honestly, a masterclass in the art of political sacrifice and diplomacy. She was initially the wife of the reigning Sultan Muzaffar Shah. However, the Sultanate was plagued by internal divisions between the Malay and the Tamil Muslim factions, a rift that threatened to tear the kingdom apart. The most powerful figure was the Bendahara, or Prime Minister Tun Perak. To heal this deep-seated political divide and secure the loyalty of his powerful Prime Minister, Sultan Muzaffar Shah made an extraordinary decision. He divorced Queen Kemuning so that she could marry Tun Perak. This was not an act of cruelty, but a calculated political maneuver in which Queen Kemuning was a willing and crucial participant. She understood that her personal sacrifice was necessary for the stability and unity of the entire sultanate. It was an act of profound patriotism, placing the welfare of the state above her own position. Her marriage to Tun Perak successfully bridged the gap between the two factions, ushering in an era of stability that allowed Malacca to flourish as the most important trading hub in Southeast Asia. Queen Kemuning's influence continued through her new role, as she became a vital link between the royal court and the powerful Bendahar's family. Her story is subtle, easily overlooked in the grand narratives of kings and wars, but it is a poignant example of how women's strategic sacrifices and diplomatic roles were often the very glue that held kingdoms together. Now we travel to the northeastern coast of the Malay Peninsula, to a land rich with folklore and legend, Kelantan. Here, the story of Queen Chik Siti Wan Kembang transcends simple history and enters the realm of myth. She is believed to have ruled in the 16th or 17th century, a queen so beloved and wise that her legacy is woven into the very cultural fabric of the region. The historical records are sparse, but the oral traditions and legends paint a picture of a ruler who never married, dedicating her life solely to the governance and well-being of her people. According to the legends, she was a warrior queen, skilled in archery and sword fighting, who would ride into battle alongside her soldiers, accompanied by an entourage of female warriors. She was also a wise and just ruler who brought great prosperity to her land, known as the land of Chik Siti Wan Kembang. She is said to have established a strong economic foundation for Kelantan, with tales of her using gold coins stamped with the image of a kijang, a type of deer which has become a symbol of the state to this day. Her legacy is more than just historical, it's symbolic. Chik Siti Wan Kembang represents an ideal of female power, independence, and benevolent rule. She is a cultural icon in Malaysia, especially in Kelantan, where her name is synonymous with strength and wisdom. The state emblem of Kelantan features two barking deer, a direct tribute to the coins she allegedly minted. Whether she was a real historical figure or a composite of powerful female leaders, her story serves as a powerful source of regional pride and an enduring symbol of female leadership. We return to Burma, to the tumultuous 14th century kingdom of Ava. In this era of constant court intrigue, assassinations, and shifting allegiances, survival itself was a form of power. Here we find Queen Sa Oma, a figure whose life reads like a political thriller. She was a queen consort, married to a succession of kings, but she was no passive pawn. She was a shrewd political operator who navigated the treacherous court politics of Ava with remarkable skill, using her intelligence and influence to secure her position and, at times, to shape the destiny of the kingdom. Sa'ama was the queen of 4 different kings of Ava. In a time when a king's death often meant peril for his queen and family, her ability to not only survive, but to repeatedly find herself at the center of power is astonishing. She was known for her beauty and charm, which she undoubtedly used to her advantage, but her longevity points to a much deeper political intelligence. She understood the power dynamics of the court, knew who to align with, and when to shift her loyalties to ensure her own survival and influence. Her most dramatic moment came when she was taken as spoils of war by the king of Hanthawadi Pegu. Even in captivity, she managed to become his favored queen. However, she never forgot her homeland. Legend says she played a key role in a plot that led to the assassination of the Hanthawadi king, paving the way for her to eventually return to Ava. Queen Sa'ama's story is complex and morally ambiguous, but it is a fascinating look at how a woman in a patriarchal system could wield immense informal power, using every tool at her disposal to navigate a world determined to control her. Let's journey to the island of Bali, a place where, spirituality and art are deeply intertwined with daily life. Here, the story of Queen Sita Dewi, or Mahendra Datta, from the 10th century is a powerful and complex one. She was a Javanese princess who married the Balinese king Udayanawarmadewa. Together they ruled and brought a new era of Javanese influence to the island, shaping its culture, religion, and political structure. She was a devout follower of Durga, the Hindu goddess of war and protection. Their reign is seen as a foundational period for the Bali we know today. They introduced East Javanese customs and a more structured form of Hinduism that blended with Bali's existing animist beliefs. Inscriptions from their time show a sophisticated system of governance and a flourishing of religious life. Queen Sita Dewi was a powerful and influential figure, ruling as an equal alongside her husband. Their son, Airlangga, would go on to become one of the greatest kings of Java, a testament to the powerful political and cultural legacy they built. However, her story takes a dark turn in Balinese folklore. After her death, she became associated with the mythical figure of Rangda, the demon queen and leader of an army of evil witches. This transformation in folklore is honestly quite fascinating. Some historians speculate that it may reflect a historical tension, perhaps a backlash against her strong-willed nature or her foreign Javanese influence. Whether viewed as the historical Queen Mahendradatta or the mythical Rangda, her impact on Bali is undeniable, representing both the creative and destructive forces that shape culture and belief. We travel back in time to the 7th century, to what is now northern Thailand. In the chronicles of this region, we find the legendary story of Queen Chamathewi, the founding ruler of the Hariphunchai kingdom. According to the tales, she was a princess from the Mon kingdom of Lavo. A wise hermit, seeing the need for a just ruler in the north, sent a request to the king of Lavo for one of his children to establish a new kingdom. The king sent his brilliant and capable daughter, Chamathewi. Arriving in the region, she founded the city of Hariphunchai, which is modern-day Lamphan. She wasn't just a figurehead, she was the architect of a new state. She is credited with bringing Theravada Buddhism to the region, an act that would fundamentally shape the cultural and religious identity of northern Thailand for centuries to come. She established laws, organized the administration of her new kingdom, and defended it against threats, creating a stable and prosperous state that would last for over 600 years. The legacy of Queen Chamathewi is, well, truly monumental. The magnificent temple Wat Phra That Hariphunchai in Lamphan, one of the most sacred sites in northern Thailand, is said to have been founded by her. She is revered as a wise, pious, and courageous leader, the matriarch of an entire region. Her story, passed down through generations, highlights the pivotal role a woman played in bringing civilization, religion, and stable governance to a new frontier, laying the groundwork for the later Lanna kingdom. Returning to the mystical island of Bali, we encounter a figure who, honestly, blurs the line between queen and goddess, Dewi Danu. She is revered as the Balinese goddess of water, lakes, and rivers, but her origins are believed to be rooted in a historical queen from the pre-Majapahit era. This deification of a powerful female ruler is, a common thread in Southeast Asian history, where great leaders were often seen as earthly manifestations of divine beings. Dewi Danu is the embodiment of life-giving water, essential for the island's terraced rice paddies. Her spiritual home is Pura Ulun Danu Bratan, one of Bali's most iconic and breathtaking temples, which appears to float on the surface of Lake Brayton. This temple is the center of a complex, island-wide water management system, known as Subak, which has actually been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Farmers from all over the region make pilgrimages to her temple to offer thanks and pray for continued blessings of water, which is really the lifeblood of their agricultural society. She is seen as a benevolent and nurturing figure, the provider of fertility and prosperity. The story of Dewi Danu illustrates the deep connection between leadership, nature, and spirituality in Balinese culture. A queen whose rule was so beneficial and so vital to the well-being of her people, likely by managing water resources effectively, was elevated to the status of a goddess, ensuring her legacy would be honored for eternity. She represents a form of power that is nurturing and life-sustaining, a ruler whose greatest achievement was ensuring the land and its people could flourish. Her worship continues to this day, a living testament to a forgotten queen's enduring impact. Our journey now takes us to the great maritime empire of Srivijaya, which dominated the seas of Southeast Asia from the 7th to the 13th century. From its capital in Sumatra, Srivijaya controlled the vital Strait of Malacca, the busiest sea lane between India and China. While the history of Srivijaya is pieced together from scattered inscriptions and foreign accounts, the name of a powerful female figure emerges, Queen Suryamuni. Believed to have ruled or held significant influence in the 8th century, her story is tied to the empire's mastery of trade and diplomacy. Srivijaya's power was not based on conquering vast tracts of land, but on controlling the sea lanes. It was a thalassocracy, an empire of the sea. This required sophisticated diplomacy, strong naval power, and a deep understanding of international trade. Queen Suryamuni, as a leader during this period, would have been at the center of this complex web. Her role would have involved forging alliances with the Chola dynasty in India and the Tang dynasty in China, ensuring safe passage for merchant ships in exchange for taxes and tribute, which filled the empire's treasury. She would have been a patron of Buddhism, as Srivijaya was a major center for Buddhist scholarship, attracting monks and pilgrims from all over Asia. The empire's wealth funded the construction of magnificent temple complexes. Queen Suryamuni's story, though fragmented, represents the critical role of female leadership within this powerful maritime state. She was not just a ruler of an island, but a key player on an international stage, a diplomat and strategist whose domain was the vast, lucrative network of the ancient maritime Silk Road. For our final story, we come forward in time to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a period of immense change and encroaching colonialism. Here we meet Princess Dara Razmi of the Lanna Kingdom in northern Thailand. Born a princess of Chiang Mai, she was sent to Bangkok to become a royal consort to King Chulalongkorn, or Rama V of Siam. This was a political marriage designed to strengthen the bonds between the central Siamese kingdom and the semi-independent Lanna state in the north, and to create a unified front against British and French colonial ambitions. In the highly formal and structured Siamese court, Dara Razmi faced prejudice for her Lao northern customs and accent, but she refused to assimilate and forget her heritage. Instead, she became a fierce and elegant champion of Lanna culture. She proudly wore traditional Lanna textiles, spoke her native Kham Muyang language, and practiced northern customs, creating a Lanna cultural enclave within the Grand Palace. She used her position not just to survive, but to advocate for her people and preserve their unique identity. After King Chulalongkorn's death, she returned to her beloved Chiang Mai and dedicated the rest of her life to a cultural renaissance. She worked to revive traditional Lanna music, dance, weaving, and literature. She also played a crucial role in agriculture, introducing new crops and farming techniques to the north. Princess Dara Razmi was a bridge between the old world and the new. She used her royal influence to navigate a period of intense political pressure, ensuring that Lanna culture would not be erased by centralization or colonialism, but would instead be preserved and celebrated for generations to come. 14 queens, 14 incredible stories of power, sacrifice, intellect, and resilience. From the battlefields of Ayutthaya to the diplomatic courts of Malacca, from the temple cities of Angkor to the trading ports of Srivijaya, these women were not footnotes. They were the authors of history, the architects of empires, and the guardians of culture. Their legacies are all around us, etched in stone, gleaming in gold, and living on in the traditions and beliefs of millions of people across Southeast Asia. They built, they ruled, they fought, and they innovated. Hearing their stories, I can't help but feel a profound sense of connection to the past, and a frustration that these names are not as well known as their male counterparts. History is a story we tell ourselves about who we are, and for too long, we've been telling an incomplete version. The narratives of these queens enrich our understanding of power, leadership, and the incredible capacity of the human spirit. They show us that there has never been just one way to rule or one way to be strong. Their lives are a testament to that truth. It is our responsibility now to carry these stories forward, to speak their names, and to ensure they are never forgotten again. By celebrating their achievements, we don't just learn about the past. We empower the future, reminding ourselves and the next generation that women have always been at the center of history, shaping the world in profound and powerful ways. Let's keep their stories alive and honor the legacies of Southeast Asia's forgotten queens. If these stories moved you, help us shine a brighter light on the queens who shaped our world. Like this video, subscribe for more untold histories, and share their legacy with someone you care about. Together, let's make sure their voices echo through time.